Right, we'll talk about Murkomen's footballing prowess later on. Maybe Mbadi has that as well, or something else. I don't know. He'll tell us. Let's get a background now. With 4 days to the first anniversary of the Uhuru Kenyatta Raila Odinga consequential handshake, the country's political landscape has suddenly been jolted with revelations of yet another case of high-level corruption. The increasingly robust Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, kicked up the dust when it questioned the allocation and spending of some 21 billion shillings ostensibly for dams in Kimorer and Aror in Elgeyo Marakwet County, a project that was not even on paper. Deputy President William Ruto dived right into the dams fiasco, defending the projects as a life changer that was still waiting to happen. And he also downplayed the DCI's figures, saying only 7 billion shillings was paid out and not 21 billion shillings as stated by the DCI. ODM leader Raila Odinga came to the defense of the DCI and accused Ruto of defending corruption. The rest is a muddy political wrestle, complete with name-calling and other colorful exchanges.
7 billion shillings is not pocket change.
Or individuals. This is not about a person, personalities, or mandasinomics.
Well, the clash comes as no surprise, as both Ruto and Raila have disagreed on almost every single issue since the March 9th, 2018 handshake between President Kenyatta and the ODM leader.
Kasema mimi sitaki kuongea na wale watu ambao wanaongea juu ya 2022. Kaja kasema basi tuko tayari. Tuongee wawili. Mimi siji na Ruto na wewe usikuje na Kalonzo.
We know what the handshake is, but we are very clear about what it is not.
This country, this year, it's going to be a year of change in our country.
Hatutaki kuletewa siasa nyingi za bure. Hakuna shortage ya positions katika Kenya.
Wacha kurandaranda hapa na pale, kutangatanga ati wewe unasema mimi ndiye nitakuwa rais mwaka 2022.
Then came the little clearly unrelated sideline incident of the removal of Rashid Echesa from the cabinet. Did the abrasive Western Kenya former youth political mobilizer fly too close to the sun?
Kama Raila sasa amekuwa ndio appointing authority in this country, I want to dare you, Tinga, wherever you are, come and sack me.
Ninyi msijali kabisa, hapa ni nyumbani. Hii yote hii ni mawimbi itakuja kupita na dunia.
I'll ask all these questions later, including whether you think Honorable Raila Odinga had anything to do with this, as HS had predicted. And he's actually saying he needs to know why he was sacked. We'll come to all that later, the handshake. I'll read a tweet here. Actually, it's an SMS. Hussein, my name is Masharia from Githurai. As far as I remember, when the DCI said that he's investigating the corruption at the said dams, nowhere did he mention the name of Murkomen or the Deputy President.
Absolutely.
And if you want the truth, you have that clip. We do. The people who have politicized this issue are Murkomen and the Deputy President. What are they really hiding? And we also have another one here. Kendagor Jr., who says Murkomen and his team should not interfere with the investigation done by DCI and DPP. Let them report any allegations if they have, as it was directed earlier by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. And the other texts, including some questions for you, Honorable Mbadi, but I'll read these two first and catch your response, because that is where we left. Because you said the DCI you think is being directed.
Absolutely.
By who?
I don't know. That's the $1 million question. He's not.
Yeah, the one who's saying it's being directed.
He's not acting independently. And saying they say, if you see that which walks like a duck, swims like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it must be a duck. Even just how the DCI conducts its investigations, even before a person has been invited to his office, you will hear, the minister will be asked 300 questions. I don't know if you can confirm that is true. You hear that
he was there from 6 a.m. They left at 5 left at 9.
We never know what the number, but you will be interested to know that most of the things that DCI has been doing has been via social media and the traditional media. That's not how investigators are supposed to work.
But I mean, investigators. What are you basing this on? What are you basing this on? They are doing the investigations, isn't it, as the DCI?
Yes.
It's an investigative agency. They communicate to people, I believe.
No, they should not. They have not, and they should not.
Why should they communicate?
Because it jeopardizes the investigation. You saw what the DPP wrote yesterday. Investigations all over the world by a competent investigative agency as opposed to be...
DPP was countering a story.
That's true. He was countering a story.
A specific story.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in countering that story, he went ahead and said that any investigations or malicious information that is being published, or even investigations that are going to be done in newspapers and social media, is actually going to jeopardize the process. You are actually jeopardizing the process of investigation. All over the world, credible investigative agencies, including FBI, and I mentioned it here, they do their thorough work. By the time they submit the work to the public, it's just to charge someone or not. Okay. But what we have seen in our country is a charade. Number two, number two was saying, I'll come to the example. Yeah. Number two said, the perfect example is Aurora and Kimwared.
How?
Because if you see all that is being discussed about Aurora and Kimwared, first of all, there is a lot of falsehood about the 21 billion that has been stolen by the company, about there is nothing that is going on the ground, about I don't know, all this, it was not viable, about saying that the land, even where the dams are supposed to be constructed, it has a seasonal river, it's not even an existing river. Some of us come from there, we know what's the fact.
Okay.
I am trying to say, and I'm trying to say that is one. Two, there is an absolute bias on the office of the DCI. And let me say why. We have over 20 dam or water projects, water supply and dam projects. The DCI funded in the same mode, paid the same advance amount of money, paid the amount of syndicated loan fees that are supposed to be paid all over the country. DCI just chose the two projects that are in my county. Just wait.
That is an assumption that is all they are doing.
No,
but that is an assumption you're making that is all they're investigating.
I'm saying this because the DCI just jumped on the project that came later, avoided Tuake, avoided Karumeni.
That's an assumption.
It's not an assumption.
We don't know if they're going to investigate or if they're investigating. We do not know.
No, I am saying
for a fact.
There is a calculated, and I'm saying this to say, there is a calculated, directed, and for me, from where I stand, a malicious investigation that are going on to besmirk not just people, but projects that are in particular regions. And in this situation, projects in my country.
I mean, you still haven't answered my question. Yeah. And in your response, you made me now ask you another question.
Yes.
I mean, what role should you play here? You're neither the contractor nor the employer.
I am the senator
of Elgeyo Marakwet County.
I had even Honorable Mbadi saying all over the weekend that, I know too much information. Yes. I want to announce to the nation, I know a lot of information.
Okay.
Because...
If there is, Murkomen. Yeah. If there is, because this is an investigation. Yeah. Because it's the DCI that says there's 21 billion shillings in question.
I want to
answer that question. You will answer. Yeah. I'm just saying, if there is an investigation going on about this, why would you come and counter it?
Because...
As who? That's the question.
As the senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County.
You're not part of this contract.
Of course, how can I be part of that contract?
So why are you talking?
I am talking as the senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County. Number one, because I was among the first people in 2012 when I was campaigning up to 2013 elections that pushed the Jubilee government to promise that those projects they are going to do. In fact, the president and the deputy announced in my county that they were going to do those projects before 2017.
That's okay.
Number two, I am interested in these projects for four reasons. Number one, I struggle almost every weekend going to bury people who are being killed on cattle rustling. This project is going to irrigate over 10,000 acres of land in Kerio Valley that's going to solve the perennial problem of cattle rustling and food security. I am struggling with water being distributed to my people. This project is going to distribute over 100,000 homes with water. This project is going to ensure that we employ over 2,000 youth in the process of construction. Okay. Of course, this project is going to generate over 80 megawatts of electricity to the country, and there are other consequential benefits, including tourism, revenue to my county, and so forth. I have, by the way, Hussein, I want to tell you this. For me, this project is more important than any position I hold in this country. Perfect. Because the first responsibility for being the senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County is to ensure that in the equitable development of this nation, my county was left out among the counties that have been left out for over 50 years. Okay. Now we are beginning to see the light in terms of development. Somebody somewhere, and when I speak, I don't speak in vain.
It's okay.
Somebody somewhere has sat down and said, why would we carry projects of this magnitude to a small county like Elgeyo Marakwet County or a marginalized county like Elgeyo Marakwet County? Okay. Now they are using fictitious claims to ensure that they dismiss this project and end the project.
Fair enough, this is very important to you. stories, it is important to other Kenyans to see the Kenyans of Elgeyo Marakwet benefit from this. And the question is that when they're looking about corruption, they're also trying to protect the Kenyans of Elgeyo Marakwet. But my question is, Murkomen, you still haven't answered my question. If there is corruption, how would you know?
I would know. First of all, let's agree here that if there would be corruption in the investigation of projects of Elgeyo Marakwet County, investigation would have gone to corruption.
It is fine, but how would you know? My question is, why are you commenting instead of leaving the investigations to be
I am commenting because I am privy to information that people are unhappy with these projects.
So
there are a lot of falsehoods that have already been mentioned of things that I know is not true. For example, that is the Seasonal River is not viable. They stole 21 billion. I am privy to all that information that is fictitious. And by the time someone is going to create those fictitious claims, there must be an ulterior motive.
Okay.
And I am saying this because, Hussein, as a lawyer, I have a responsibility also to say that fair treatment, equal treatment must be extended to similar projects across the country in every part of this nation.
I still have a lot of questions on that. Honorable Mbadi, you actually said Murkomen knows too much and he should also record statements.
Honorable Murkomen should not try to whip emotions around this debate, because I think we are asking fundamental questions. I want just to go direct to what he said about investigations, and since he likes quoting the US, the United States, there has been recent investigations of the President of the US regarding the previous election, the last election. And it is all over in the media. Go to CNN, you will see exactly what FBI is investigating. And this is the President of the United States of America. There's nothing really wrong with the public officers when they are doing their work to make it public. In fact, that is what we have been crying for in this country, that things, investigations, everything is done shrouded in secrecy, that we don't know whether it has been done properly. It is good if it is done publicly so that the people of Kenya can assess the effectiveness of the same. Now, when Murkomen says that he feels, and I agree with him, if the project is in his area, he is entitled to being emotional about it, to support it.
Yes.
But the question is, when the DCI is questioning why amounts were paid in 2017 and work has not begun,
exactly,
isn't this person helping you and your people to realize? I don't think I need a response from Murkomen. I was quiet when he was speaking. And you see, Murkomen has this tendency and habit of heckling when he realizes that the other person is just making a question. But why are you responding? You see, the point is this, Hussein, there are fundamental questions that DCI is asking. And the people who can answer these questions, I will tell you without blinking an eye, is the people who did the procurement. Kerio Valley Development Authority needs to come out and tell us all these things that Murkomen and the rest are talking to us about. We have the line ministries. They should tell us, is this company, this Italian company, running bankrupt? One of the cabinet secretaries, the cabinet secretary for water, has come out publicly in the open to tell us that this contractor may not complete Itare Dam because they are running bankrupt. Now, Murkomen is so confident that the same company which has been paid money to implement projects in his area, projects that he feels so attached to, will complete them. What evidence does he have when the indications are all there? When everybody seems to be doubting and questioning the capability of this contractor. And now I would say, what I see happening, and especially with Murkomen and his team, and I want to say that to me it is really shocking that they could come out at this time. If I were them, I would have kept my cool a bit. The question that I want to ask is, why are you fighting investigation? No one has said anyone has stolen so much. What we know is that these amounts that are being talked about are being investigated. Whether it is 21 billion, it is 7 billion, 1 billion, even less. So long as it is taxpayers' money that is likely to be at risk, we have and we are entitled to answers. And the people who can give that answers are the accounting officers. It's not the politicians. In fact, I agree with the president. It's not the politicians in rallies and funerals. And my last comment to say, you know, the way I see this thing playing out is like this story of a thief who has been caught stealing and is running with your phone. And because he wants to divert attention, he's telling, is shouting, who you, so that people may get confused who is the thief. That is what I see here. Even and you see these MPs
Who are you calling a thief? Murkomen?
No, with this team, because we are saying money has been stolen, and then someone is telling, we know you have stolen KQ. What if there are others who have also stolen? If there are people who want to steal through KQ, tell us so and so wants to steal. We will deal with that person the same way we want to deal with these dams. And by the way, Honorable Murkomen must know that even though these dams are done in Elgeyo Marakwet, all Kenyans are going to pay for it. And therefore, don't make it appear like you have these projects are being implemented from some monies that you have contributed from your region or from Elgeyo Marakwet or from your pockets. All of us are going to pay for these loans.
Absolutely.
And we are entitled to answers.
Okay.
You cannot gag us on that.
There are other issues here to discuss, but as you respond, I'm just going to answer this question again for the last time. How would you know if there was corruption? It's a simple yes or no question. Would you know?
I'm trying to tell you.
Would you know or
no,
not?
I'm trying to tell you, Hussein, that none of us has opposed any investigation on anybody, even
That's
myself.
what you're doing.
No, we are not. We are opposed in the manner in which the investigation is being done and the allegations that are being labeled against the company. That is all. That
By who?
Not against the project, not the company.
By who?
By the DCI.
It's their job, isn't
no,
it?
It is their job, but they must do. You know, you people are absolutely, what I can say, hypocritical, because you are happy if we are going to praise DCI. You are not happy if we are going to criticize. The same energy you are using to praise DCI could have an equal energy of criticizing DCI. And in fact, they say the person, your critic is your best friend.
Okay.
Because I am not doing this maliciously. I'm doing it to better the office of the Director of Criminal Investigation. In fact, if there will be amendment of the Constitution in the near future, I'm going to propose that the office of the Director of Criminal Investigation should be made an independent office, the way we have in South Africa, which investigates the president when he's in office, and the way we have in Israel, which investigates the prime minister in the office.
But
I want to say why.
I want to say why I came. That maybe takes me back to that question I asked you before. But Honorable Murkomen, because clearly I'm not getting the answer here. If there's if it's proved that there was corruption here, are you willing to put your name, your reputation, your job, I dare say even your life on the line if there was corruption?
If there are corruption, it is not in the manner in which it has been reported. And nobody has said...
Reporting or not?
Listen, Hussein.
Reporting or not? Because you're talking about the investigation.
There could be corruption. There's no problem with that.
So why are you
the problem I have, and I don't know why you are not getting it.
I'm really trying to.
I have a problem in the way the corruption allegations are being brought forth. First of all, it is not being brought to investigate individuals who could have misappropriated the money. There is a direct attack on the projects using malicious and lies. Yes. Let me give you an example. The DCI says that 21 billion was paid to the contractor, and that the contractor has not gone on site. Let me just say that, has not gone on site. It is 1 year down the line, the contractor is not on site. The DCI is not telling you, saying that the Carmenu contract, I want you to hear that, was signed 3 years ago. You have reported there about 4 billion was paid. The contractor is not working. Twake Dam was paid 7.8 billion on one project of that 9 billion in Makweni. The contractor has just mobilized to go on site 4 years down the line. All these projects, including the projects of energy, the question I'm asking myself, on similar projects funded by syndicated loan like the one of Kimware and Aror, why is this discrimination attacking this project? And I'm saying this because
that's an assumption, because you never know if they're going to investigate the others.
You don't know. No, let me tell you. If there was equal treatment on all projects, what should have happened was to say Kenya is investigating all syndicated loans. Why am I saying this? Let me just explain why. Because one of the things that the DCI is now trying to raise to run away from the 21 billion argument is to go back to the contract before the loan was given. And you know how syndicated loans work. And having done work with the development financing, I studied development financing.
Okay.
You all know that for any syndicated loans, there must be an insurance, for example. And that insurance is not paid after the loan was given. Okay. It's paid in the country where it was by the to the company that is actually giving the loan. And the reason why we have to pay insurance to syndicated loans is for two reasons. One, if you don't want to pay insurance, you will pay 7% of interest. But if you pay the insurance, you pay 1%.
All right.
If you don't want to pay the insurance, you repay the loan in 7 years. If you pay the insurance, you repay the loan in 20 years.
Right.
Matters to do with agency fee, matters to do with arrangement fee, matters to do with commitment fee. All those fees were not paid to the contractor. The only fees we know, and it can be proven that was paid to the contractor as advance payment, is the ones that are 7 billion shillings.
Okay,
let me come to that, because we must clear that thing of advance payment. Because if we continue talking about this issue, why is Kimwared's advance payment, which has yet to be used, just like Karumenu, just like the one of Tuake, just like the energy projects, just like the road projects, over 100 contracts? Why is that particular one being bastardized? That is the argument we're having.
Still, this is an investigation by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. I'll let Honorable Mbadi speak. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I also wanted to tell Murkomen that as an accountant, there are also things that I understand that probably may not be able to appreciate and understand.
Go ahead.
You see, when you are talking about all these payments that are made in advance, in a contract, they have to be followed to be recovered. And by the way, as an accountant, you don't just say, if a project, you have spent money in a project and you are questioning, look at the auditor's report. They question the entire amount for the project. They don't single out that this one went to the contractor A, this one went to B. So what the DCI is saying is that the amount in question regarding this contract is 21 billion. Out of which, and by the way, there is no contention about it, 7.8 has gone to the contractor.
Absolutely.
There is 11 billion that has been paid to the financier as insurance premium. And there is the mobilization agency fee paid to people here and there. But the projects as it is today, both Aror and Kwemwerer Dam, which are in your region, we have spent 21 billion on those two projects. But there is no dispute about that. So I don't see the contradiction. The other thing is,
there's a contradiction. Let me just correct this. No, to the extent that Mbadi has explained, that is exactly what I've said. But there's a difference here. In the reporting that was made public by DCI, the argument was that the contractor was paid 21 billion, and there's nothing that is going on.
You know, first of all, we didn't get a verbatim report or a communication from DCI. What we received was media reports. And actually, Murkomen and his team reacted to media reports. And by the way, media reports.
What are you reacting to?
I am reacting to your hurried and confused. No, just listen. I am reacting to your hurried, confused response on an investigation that is ongoing. Murkomen, DCI has said that part of this money probably found its way to Kenya. I am not saying that has been proved. Why can't you give DCI time? Because if for sure we paid money, mobilization fee can be paid. It is paid in all projects, including a road that is done in my constituency, which has stalled. They paid 10% mobilization fee. But if that fee, part of it, can be traced to a bank in Homa Bay, where Mbadi goes and withdraws it, it becomes a case. And that is what the DCI is following. Money was paid to Italy. Part of it went to London. Then part of it probably came to Kenya. Why can't you give the DCI time to prove to us whether this money really bought towels and tiles? And if these tiles, where did they go to? Did they go to some place in Mombasa? Or went to some place in Homa Bay? Or where was this tile? So please hold your horses.
I have no problem
and
with
allow
all those
investigation to be done.
I have no problem with all those investigations by DCI. I have a problem when he runs a negative and bastardized arguments against the project. That's all.
How?
I don't think he did that.
First of all, there is a lot of lies being peddled in public that payment advancement was paid, and contractor is not on site, work has not started. You know, without...
Has the work started?
Of course. You saw it,
what percentage?
Citizen was reporting.
What percentage?
As reported work starting in Arona.
But since Murkomen is procurement officer, finance manager, and also the project supervisor of this project, can he tell us the percentage of completion of this project?
Okay, thank you. You know, as a matter of fact, the project has started. Some of the reasons why it is now not progressing in the manner we all of us want to is because we as politicians and local leaders have insisted that compensation should be completed. That is the case with Twake. That's the case with Karumeni.
Right.
That's the case with all projects.
You know, we're getting into details. We're getting into
details. It's important to go to that detail because
this is
when you sit in an office, I just don't wake up from anywhere. If you sit in an office like mine as a senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County, pushing and following projects that are being done in your county, and you realize that these projects are being targeted, and you get even wind of the information that the reason why this negative publicity is being done is so that the projects can be cancelled. Hussein, you have a right to cry earlier. It is better to do it now. It's better to do it now than later to come and cry and say, why did the projects get out? I have no, Hussein, if it happens, and you told me, can I put my life on the line? If it happens ultimately that these projects get cancelled because the cartels are more powerful than us who are defending these projects, at least I will say, I have washed my hands, I've done my best to defend the right of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County to be treated like the people of Makueni, to be treated like people of Kiambu,
as I said, we never know how the DCI is operating, how investigative agencies is operating. It's an assumption. You never know who they're going to investigate next. But let's leave these matters there, because this is an investigation going on. Just answer me this question, because I'm asking you a question you're not really responding to. I'm asking you, who are you saying?
Are you looking for a special question? Answer?
Not at all.
Maybe you have a special
answer. No, it's just a direct question.
Okay. Unless if you have an answer you want me to give, just tell me, I give you.
Okay. Just tell me if this question requires an explanation or a direct answer, because you said it.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, who is it that is directing the DCI? Because you said he's being directed.
I told you one thing. Anything that walks like a duck, swims like a duck,
you're the one who
quacks like a duck, is probably a duck. So the reason why I'm saying this is that the conduct of the DCI, the coordination he has in terms of frustrating the project to progress, is basically the reason why I am making a complaint. But it's not the only complaint I have. Most of the cases he has presented in court, I mean, you guys have been in court. Okay. You know how shambolic the investigation have gone and the results of that shambolic investigation. So, please, Kenyans, understand me. You are majority leader in the Senate. When I criticize an institution, I am doing so for the betterment of that institution. Okay. If you want us to be sycophants of DCI, but I am not one of them.
All these cases are going on. No, I don't think any case has been determined yet. I'll read this tweet because it's important. If we can have that tweet by Makao Mutua we had earlier on before. And I'll read another one as we wait for that. Mohammed Hilsi says on Twitter, who would have predicted that in 18 months after elections, Mbadi will be busy defending President Uhuru Kenyatta against Murkomen? Kweli Kenya ni nchi ya maajabu.
Can I respond to that? Okay, maybe it's Mbadi. Yeah.
You see, Hussein, that no one would have predicted that. But the truth and the reality is that the two leaders, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, shook hands and agreed, among other things, on the 9 points. One of them was fight against corruption. We committed ourselves as a party, ODM, that when it comes to corruption, we will be behind Uhuru Kenyatta. And I want to guarantee that. Sitting here, I want to repeat that we will support...
The government or Uhuru Kenyatta?
Of course, the government is led by Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay. Is the one driving this agenda. But Hussein...
You've singled out the deputy president.
But you have to be very careful.
Who's the deputy of President Kenyatta?
You have to be very careful now because you can't just generalize and say government. Because you can see the same government is fighting the president on this war. So what I want to guarantee is that the fight against corruption has the support and the backing of ODM as a party, of which I'm the chairman, and I'm the minority leader in the National Assembly. We will support this fight to the end.
Can I respond
you will, but in fact I'll quote you and what the Deputy President also said.
I just want to say to Hersi something.
Yes.
Hersi is a person I know is my friend. I refuse to accept that DCI is President Uhuru Kenyatta. and that defending DCI the way Mbadi is defending is now a friend of DCI. Of course, he was crying the other day when they were being charged left, right, and center before last elections. Now that DCI is his friend, I do not believe that DCI is Uhuru Kenyatta. And I don't believe that when I criticize DCI, I am criticizing President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I am entitled to criticizing DCI because as a leader, I must make my contribution to making the office of DCI better. Okay. So if the conclusion by Hersi and others is that Mbadi is defending President Uhuru Kenyatta by defending DCI, that is a serious allegation against the president. Okay. Because it means it's actually it's an allegation against the president that he is the one directing the DCI.
Hersi talked about Mbadi supporting or defending President Uhuru Kenyatta. I'll read this tweet now by Makao Mutua, who says, it is clear William Ruto and his brigade are counterpunching President Kenyatta. Looks like a slow-motion civilian coup within Jubilee to kill the handshake and tame Kamwana, make him a lame dog, and eviscerate war on corruption. Okay. and he actually said, the Deputy President over the weekend, that what does the war on corruption, first I'll ask you that, what does the war on corruption have to do with 2022? Because you talked about it before. Yeah. But the Deputy President says, it is meddling in the Jubilee affairs in the guise of the handshake. Honorable Mbadi.
You know,
and he's actually responding to Honorable Raila Odinga.
Let me tell you, we expected this. And even when we shook hands and when we started on this path of building bridges, we knew. Remember, Raila said...
You knew what?
We knew that we would face some of these hurdles. Remember, at the burial of, I think, Kenneth Matiba, the two leaders said that from both sides, they are enemies of the handshake, but they will soldier on. Now you can see the enemies of the handshake, they are coming out openly. But let me tell you, this issue of corruption, it has nothing even to do with the handshake. And the only thing is that the handshake has given his impetus. When the president talked about lifestyle audit, didn't you see the reaction from these people, the Murkomen and his team? And what is happening in this country is that we have so many thieves, and they have a patron. We must dismantle this kingdom of thieves.
Patron.
They have a patron.
Who's the patron?
You know him.
I don't know him.
No, you can guess who he is. I will not tell you.
But who's the patron?
That is
what
homework.
Are you talking about?
That's your homework. You can see the patron is coming out all over the place. So we have thieves. We have people who have vowed to steal our money.
Okay.
And this is what we are telling them, that Kenyans are not going to sit and keep quiet. You are not going to intimidate us.
Okay. My question is, Honorable Mbadi, you're not, I mean, your position is not a small position.
Yes.
Okay. And I respect all positions, even by saying that. In the government, in Kenya today, you're the minority leader. And a minority leader in a government that today we're seeing Raila Odinga playing a very important role after the handshake. So, what are you raising this to the president?
What exactly?
That there are patrons within government.
But the president is aware.
The president is the head.
Let me tell you, the president, I'm sure, is aware.
Or didn't you want the president to take action? If you're really serious about fighting corruption, because you shook hands and just saying one of the issues was fighting corruption.
Let me tell you. To me, I think the president is on the right path. I don't think I need to ask him to do more. The president reformed DCI by making changes, personnel changes. There were changes in DPP's office. These people seem to be doing their work. You know, the moment you see people crying, you should know that these people are doing their work. If they were getting praises all over the place like other people have been getting, then we get worried. But to me, I think DCI is doing a good job. That is why people are crying. Because you know, when you are fighting corruption, you think people will be happy. There are people who have been feeding on proceeds of corruption in this country. And you are closing those taps. Okay. They must kick you. In fact, when you see, let me tell you, when you see some unconventional attacks on the president, some people who really, some MPs from Jubilee, whom you thought should be loyal to the president, are so bitter, talking with bitterness, you'd think their houses have been burnt. It is the taps of corruption. Okay. These people have been benefiting from corruption.
Let me give you an example. You've taken action against one of your MPs.
Yes.
Okay. You are in the handshake family.
Yes.
And you're saying the president knows this problem.
Exactly.
People in government, the patrons you're talking about. Have you raised this with the president?
Who has raised this with the president?
You as a partner in the handshake.
Let me tell you, if there's anything that our party discusses with the president almost every day is corruption.
But don't you think he should have taken action, because you're saying it is the government
Which
itself?
other action do you want him to do? Yes, there is only one area that I think the president is late on. Within his government, the cabinet, there are people who are being fingered out as being corrupt. I expect those people to vacate office. And that he can do easily. So that one he should do. But in terms of the putting infrastructure and putting institutions in place, I don't think the president needs to do more. What we need to do is just to give the president the support, which seems to be lacking within his Jubilee now. The Jubilee has cracked. There are two sides of it. One side is very vocal. They don't want anything to do with the fight against corruption. There's one that probably is supporting, but is a bit quiet. But as ODM and us from the side of NASA, we are saying, and by the way, NASA is united on this. Kalonzo is there, and Mbadi is there, and Raila is there. What we are saying is one.
Although you said the enemies on both sides, right?
Yeah,
you respond to that, and you also make clear the statement. We cannot allow agents of poverty to kill our development projects. That's what you say. Jubilee development projects.
Absolutely.
That you're only the one complaining and not President Kenyatta.
That's okay. First of all, Hussein, all this discussion of Mbadi is about 2022. When the handshake came to be, most of us went there with a lot of clean heart and hoped that it was about the country. But no sooner had we gone to this handshake than we realized it was meant to say President Uhuru is good, Deputy President is bad. And there's an obvious reason to that.
By who?
By ODM, you know that. And Mbadi wrote a letter to remove Aisha Juma for associating with the Deputy President. You know that even in this fight against corruption, they say the president is clean, the deputy is corrupt. But just before election, they were saying the president, deputy is corrupt. In fact, there was a headline which was circulating, the president, Raila Odinga, saying the president's family has stolen everything in the Ministry of Health. But now, after the handshake, the president is clean, the deputy president is bad.
I want him to respond to that.
And there's a reason to that. No, let me you will respond later. There's a reason to that. You allow me, because I was very quiet. I was very quiet when I was making a statement. There's a reason to that. It is William Ruto who faces the elections of 2022. It is not President Uhuru Kenyatta. It helps to divide Jubilee in the hope that come 2022, you will be able to say, Jubilee was good, but its badness was the deputy president. So we are used to that. We are not worried. We are prepared for the campaign of 2022 based on branding the deputy president as corrupt. It is Mbadi who was being addressed today by President Uhuru Kenyatta. When he said that if you know patrons in Jubilee of corruption, you should go to Karura there and present the information. Because these are the same people who have weaponized the fight against corruption for purpose of political competition. Okay. What we are insisting in Jubilee, and I want to say this for avoidance of doubt, we're insisting in Jubilee that we will fight corruption based on institutions. Any cabinet secretary that will be found to be part of corruption must vacate office. Any public officer who is found on matters corruption must vacate office. And the president is always ready to get someone out of office if they are found in any impropriety, not just corruption. And therefore, when we speak and say that we cannot allow a situation where on TV, on public platform, on weddings, that's what the president was saying today actually, you follow him to funerals and weddings, and you go out there and say, damn X, how much has been stolen? Jubilee has stolen SGR, it has stolen the medical equipments, it has stolen the airport.
He's talking about people talking about him,
Exactly. No, okay. But I'm just saying, it's not just the president.
It's
not just the president.
Yes.
It is if you know that there is corruption in any project in this great republic.
To a large extent, that's the
please walk to Karura and present the information.
But you're the one who's talking about these projects.
Yes.
The president is very much is part of the handshake.
Yes.
He's on record saying very well that the handshake is actually between him. The only people who know the finer details is him.
Not the president. The president has never said that.
He has said
it's
that.
Not never.
He has said
the
that.
Only person. No, I'm just telling you the truth.
I'm also telling you what
the president explained to Kenyans that the handshake is about everybody.
Okay.
The president has never had to discipline Jubilee leaders for associating with Raila Odinga or Kalonzo.
Of course
I
not.
associate freely with Raila Odinga. I associate freely with Kalonzo Musyoka.
Okay.
The contradiction in this handshake is that one side of the partner, which is the Jubilee side, believes that it's about everybody and it's about the country. The other side believes that it is about them and the president and should exclude everybody else, especially William Ruto, because he's running for election.
So do you think the president should say something about that?
You know, the president should not be reduced to addressing every small problem that this partner. What the audio,
I mean, if you're saying the whole handshake thing and the other side is about
we will
destroying
deal
the
with
name
that.
William
That
Ruto.
is
The
that
president
is for
should not
us.
say anything about
That is for Murkomen and below.
Okay.
We will deal with it. The issue we want to emphasize at the moment is that we are prepared for a campaign every day until 2022 August 9. And we are even prepared for newspaper headlines. We are prepared for TV headlines. No. We are prepared for all of them.
Okay.
We know the strategy.
All right.
That is painting the deputy president as corrupt as a 2020 as a tool for 2022 campaign.
See, I'll come to you, Mbadi. Still answer my question. I ask your question. When you're saying you cannot allow agents of poverty to kill our development projects, when the deputy president says meddling in Jubilee affairs in the guise of the handshake and to using your word bastardize the projects of Jubilee, the projects of Jubilee are not about you or the deputy president.
It's about the country.
It's about the country. It's about the president.
Yes.
The president is not saying this. Is he not saying this? Are you the only one saying this?
Well, I think, as a matter of fact, he said it today. He said it openly today. He said, stop these things of following me in funerals and churches. If you never decoded that message,
that is your interpretation of it.
Exactly. He was trying to say, all of you are coming here telling me about corruption here, such and such a person has done this, go take it to DCI. Because, honestly, look, for example, the president today was very unhappy with the link of the airport and himself and his family. Okay. Why? Because we have reduced a project that is so noble, that is meant to save the Kenya Airways, that is meant to save the aviation industry in the country and our tourism and our markets abroad, to a question of president's family.
Honorable.
What the president is trying to say is that do not focus on using public platforms to attack the individual of the president or any other member of Jubilee when you are actually attacking those projects.
Honorable Mbadi, he's talking about the association or punishing, and he's the lawyer actually, for Aisha Jumwa. And the direct accusation here is all these things are happening after the handshake and that you are in this for politics. And this is actually pure politics, to sideline the deputy president. You've heard him say that. Plus, faulting your MPs for associating with the deputy president, yet he's a deputy to the president who your party leader and your party shook hands with.
Hussein, there's no one who is punishing anyone for associating with anybody. We are on this issue that you have picked, Aisha Juma and Dori, we have clear evidence of what they did. And what they did is not association. In fact, William Ruto, who is the deputy president of this republic, has even visited many areas in Nyanza with some leaders, not all. Some didn't accompany him. We were with him in Kisumu. He has gone to Homa Bay. He has been to Migori, and we have not punished those leaders who have been with him. Aisha Jumwa came publicly, and we all followed what she was saying. She kept saying that in 2022, amemalizana na ODM. She's just there because she was elected on ODM ticket. But she's going to support William Ruto for president in 2022. First, remember, our party has taken a decision that we are not talking about elections of 2022. Secondly,
although some of your MPs have talked about 2022 and supporting Raila Odinga.
Secondly,
that has happened.
Secondly,
that has happened. You have to agree with me.
Listen, Hussein, listen to me first.
I'm listening, but I'm asking you a question. Some of your MPs have talked about 2022 and supporting Raila Odinga.
Secondly, if that is reported, we will reprimand them. But listen to me carefully. And by the way, we have reprimanded them. I will tell you there are some of the MPs. There are some of the MPs, by the way, I've never...
2022 and Raila Odinga.
You know,
as a matter
you are a
of fact,
heckler.
We know.
You are a heckler. You are a heckler. You are a heckler in a national show.
But it's
Please,
important.
can you keep quiet and allow me to speak? Allow me to speak.
But it's asking you a direct question.
The second question. By the way, let me tell you. We have reprimanded. We don't have to go publicly reprimanding. We have reprimanded people about
privately,
talking, including saying
because
that Uhuru will support Raila in 2022. I know we have reprimanded. Listen, Aisha Jumwa has been abusing party leadership. And it is insults. It's not even saying that someone is incompetent. He has abused the party leader of ODM. She has abused the deputy party leader of ODM. She has abused the Secretary General of ODM. It's only the chairman, myself, she has not abused. But let me tell you, disciplining party members is totally different from the handshake.
It's not.
This Jubilee, even were the whipping members who wanted just be chairs of committee.
Okay. Honorable Mbadi, where do you see the role of the handshake in this, as Murkomen and team are alleging?
In what?
In the problems about corruption, or the war against corruption.
To me, I think handshake is a godsend to this country. For the president to have the courage to deal with corruption, especially if a section of his government has issues of corruption, he had to get support across the country. And handshake has given Uhuru a lifeline to now deal with this menace. In fact, if the President Uhuru Kenyatta will not be able to fix this problem, then it will be very difficult to fix it.
All right, we have
Hussein, there is something that you will allow me to say.
Yes.
You know this talk by Murkomen, that there are people who are trying to implicate Ruto on corruption to make him look bad for 2022. Hussein, who owns Western Hotel? Now we know him. And that land is taken from a parastatal. Just listen. From a parastatal. When children of Langata Road Primary were being tear gassed, where was William Ruto? Why didn't he stop that? Why hasn't he come out to apologize to the people of Kenya for tear gassing their children when he was grabbing the land of that public?
How
then do you blame us? And you have chosen to get yourself
by NLC.
Exactly. No, but the truth. This is the truth. He has even spoken about it.
Yes.
He has said they bought the land from another person.
Yes.
Who was extending that land to Langata Road Primary School? Was it the previous landowner or himself? And then you come and blame us that we are associating you with corruption. When you are associating yourself with corruption.
As I said, Hussein, the fight against corruption is neither here nor there when it comes to ODM. What is important is, can you find anything that you can say?
No, but Langata Road was being grabbed just the other day.
Stop the heckling?
No.
So if you see, for example, the Langata primary school thing. So he's now accusing the deputy president of holding tear gas and tear gassing children, when we know and was reported that the person who was claiming that land was somebody known to the public. Number two,
who is this?
If it becomes the investigative agency made it public.
Who is this?
I don't remember his name. It was called who? Number two, Hussein.
That is the fat lie.
Can I complete Hussein?
That is the fat lie.
Can I complete Hussein what I'm saying?
First of all, I remember the story then, and the Lands Cabinet Secretary then talked about somebody called Singh, if I'm not wrong.
Who never was found.
Who was never found. Anyway.
No, can I complete? I'm just saying, we know this. This strategy of ODM to paint the deputy president as corrupt is no doubt. If we were to go that line, we would be talking about molasses today, which was a government parastatal. We would be talking about, in fact, the former Prime Minister today was saying, we need to save the molasses. What he didn't tell Kenyans yesterday when he was talking about sugar, he didn't tell Kenyans he was actually bidding for his business. So
but who doesn't know that is his business?
We know it's his business, but he was bidding for it publicly with the minister.
He was not bidding.
And it's a business. Wait, listen, can I finish?
That's an allegation you're making.
Yes, and it's a business, and it's a business that was grabbed from a public institution.
I'm just
so Hussein, I'm just telling you, if we want to do politics with the war against corruption, we know how to do the politics. If we want to do investigations independently, allow institutions of investigation to do it. Unless those institutions do it independently. Lastly, I do not believe that you can attribute to Handshake or any politicians any work of independent institutions to investigate corruption. If that be the case, Hussein, it will mean that then it is the Handshake that put those people in office. They are answerable to Handshake, and tomorrow when no Handshake puts another people in that office, they will be attacking another group.
Speaking as if you're not even part of the Handshake.
No, I'm just saying this. We've been told we must not discuss Handshakes for two people. We've been told. We initially. That's what I'm saying. We initially told that is for everybody, but slowly later. in fact, about the criminal removal of Aisha Jumwa, it's becoming very clear that it's not about everybody.
Okay.
So Hussein,
right.
let's emphasize, when we leave this show today,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
What I want
Kenyans
to remember is only one thing.
I'll give you that final word.
That if you have institutions that are working at the whims of the politics of the day or the person in power during the today, tomorrow you will have another worse person in power, and you never know where they can go.
The person in power is the president.
That's what I'm saying. If
I just
it
wonder,
doesn't have to be the president alone.
I'm just wondering. Honorable comment. You'll give your final word. I'm just wondering. What is the relationship between the president and the deputy president? He is the deputy of the president.
Absolutely.
They form the government.
Absolutely.
I just wonder if there's all this you're saying, attempts and conspiracy to fight the deputy president. Why is his friend and his boss doing nothing or saying nothing about it?
I think what the president knows, he knows that there is all this conspiracy. He can see the fight. The president, it is not a new thing. When Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to be president in 2013, he went through the same process. He was taken to Hague, actually.
So
let me just say, and the deputy president was taken to Hague. He sees all these games that people are playing as temporary for now. And he knows that with his energy, with his strategy, with his plan, those problems can be sorted in the next election.
Can we have a final word
I think being the president of the Republic of Kenya is just allowed it to go on because he doesn't want to meddle with small debates.
Can we have a final word of 30 seconds each from each of you? Okay. And there was that question that was being asked about Echesa, and I played that bite before. Yeah. Of course, you're at liberty to answer this or not, when he said, come and sack me, Raila Odinga, now he's sacked, and he's asking why he was sacked. And whether, some people are asking, his sacking has anything to do with Raila Odinga. I'll start with you. Do you think his sacking had anything to do with Raila Odinga?
I know by constitution.
Nobody knows why he was sacked.
I know by constitution the president is the one who appoints and dismisses cabinet secretaries. Okay. I would never want to second guess that it wasn't the president's decision.
Honorable Mbadi, as you give me your final word on this corruption, and war on corruption.
I think Hussein, the sacking of Echesa to me is very clear. I think there are talks about some investigations that have been done linking him with some criminal activities. I don't know how factual that is. And I think that is why that action was taken. To me, Echesa was a mistake in the first place in the cabinet. I don't think we should take time really to discuss issue of Echesa. Murkomen should also stop sugarcoating their bitterness with the president. It is obvious. Look at what Sudi said. Sudi was so direct and forthright. And you have not come out to disown what Sudi said. Sudi addressed the president and told him, you, Uhuru Kenyatta. So this sugarcoating will not help matters. I think the bitterness here is that now corruption is being fought. I don't think Murkomen and his team ever imagined that before 2022 there will be a serious fight against corruption. They probably appear to me like they have dipped their fingers too much into our public coffers, to the extent they don't know how to get out of it. But Murkomen, if you people happen to have benefited from our resources, be ready to answer. Stop fighting DCI. The president has communicated. He has faith and confidence in DCI. So when you are saying you don't have faith in the DCI and confidence in DCI, it means you are fighting what Uhuru Kenyatta believes in. And I think that is not very good for this country. You are majority leader in the Senate, support the president in the fight against corruption if you are not corrupt. If you are corrupt, then behave the way you are behaving.
First of all, I personally believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta deserves wise, accurate, and bold counsel from us who work with him. And as it is, the DCI has to change the manner in which he's conducting his responsibilities, because we are saying this because we love this nation and we like to have our independent institutions to operate without any interference from any quarters. And the reason is this: those of us who are in office, including myself at the moment, are not going to be in office eternally. Okay. We must establish institutions that when they do investigation, when they deal with corrupt elements, they do it in a manner that this country will be proud of. We avoid these frustrations, the hopes we create to the citizens of Kenya by malicious reports and creating hope that so-and-so has been found culpable. And then when finally the real legal process takes place, we don't find them culpable, we start blaming the courts. Kenyans are tired with that process. Okay. We want to deal with evidence and facts and the law.
He doesn't have to respond.
I wanted to
he
ask
doesn't
him.
have to respond.
I wanted to ask him.
A question, I have to respond.
I wanted just to request him and ask him to advise Aisha Juma properly, and I just wanted to know if there is any case he has ever won. I see him misleading Aisha Juma.
Right.
I
don't know. But
think,
probably this is the first time he's going to win a case.
I think
maybe I would love to see the first case you win.
I think I am above those childish kind of prodding by
you can
by
call
my
them
colleague,
childish, but
by
I
my
don't think
colleague.
there is any case
I think,
that is recorded
I think
that you have won.
The case of Aisha Juma is not about Murkomen. I am just a conveyor.
But you are just going to lose it
listen,
the way you are.
Okay. All right.
Why do you mislead Aisha Juma? And you know you are leading her to nowhere.
No, I'm merely a conveyor belt for justice.
Okay.
And my responsibility is to ensure that the truth is known.
You give her hopes,
and I want to assure Mbadi.
You cannot win that case. You have no capacity.
Please behave.
No, I'm telling you. By the way, I'm just advising you. If you mean well for her, please advise her to get proper legal representation.
Okay.
Hussein,
briefly.
I'm saying that I have no doubt in my mind that the law, the constitution, the laws of this republic are on the side of my client. I have no doubt that she will triumph. I have no doubt that through these trials and temptation she's going through, she's going to be stronger. She will make them stepping stones.
Okay.
And in future, when Mbadi will be watching on television from Homa Bay, Aisha Juma will be serving this nation.
All right, we have to leave it at that. There's only one more question here. As I look at your feedback, I can't look at all of them, of course, a lot of them, but sorry, you can look at all of them. Just a sample here, somebody here who says on .2 is Murkomen willing and to volunteer and give all this information to the Directorate for Criminal Investigation?
Yes.
You're willing?
If by the way, I have said, and I said on TV last time, the Director of Public Prosecution needs experts that understand what is syndicated loans.
Okay.
And when he needs a lawyer who appreciates and understands international development financing, I am willing to
volunteer,
not to volunteer.
I'll
volunteer. I don't need any legal fees.
What you're telling us is you'll go.
I don't need legal fees.
You're telling us
if he needs an expert, let him just go and you go record a statement. You are a suspect. You can't go there and start advising. You are a suspect.
Okay. I regret doing
You are the one who knows too much. You know too much about these two projects. How then do you go? How do you ask Fisi to advise you on how to chunga mbuzi, and you have a lot of information about two projects.
He's willing to go. Either way, he's saying he's willing to go.
Go there as a suspect.
Go there as a suspect and record
statement. You just volunteer. You're saying you're ready to volunteer and go. Okay.
Go
and record statement.
This absolute nonsense.
Not to advise.
No, let me just tell you. This absolute nonsense. I don't listen to people like Mbadi, talking about, go record this, do that. If you want Murkomen to record a statement, why don't you just go and record and say Murkomen is a suspect? Let him come and record.
No, but you are a suspect.
Go to.
From the way you are appearing, everybody knows you are a suspect.
We have to leave it at that, gentlemen.
I don't have to. He will summon you soon. You will go there.
Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen is the Senate Majority Leader.
I'm sure he will summon you.
And Honorable Mbadi is the
now that is your friend
National Assembly Minority Leader. I cannot even hear myself. Thank you all for making time for us tonight. Of course, as Kenyans, you're still the judge. Another text here. This is actually from David Murade, who says Ruto says only 7 billion. Rotich says 21 billion. Who are we to believe? You don't have to respond to that. And finally, Godi Barasa Were, who says the vigor and energy the sign language interpreter employed when translating President Kenyatta's speech in Kirinyaga Devolution Conference is the same energy needed in the fight against corruption.
Exactly.
And I'll leave it at that. And she's Yulan Zale. She works here, by the way. We'll see her tomorrow, I think, Monica? Yeah. Yes, tomorrow.
She did a good job.
For making time for us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Newsnight. I'm Hussein Mohammed. Have a good night.